You know, a buddy of mine asked me on the way out of the screening for this how many thrillers I'd have to see in my lifetime to think that that movie was any good. And I'll tell you what I told him. All of them. Just go with me on this one. This one's badass. I mean, sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can make a perfectly good show out of just making a pretty good wheel that runs and looks pretty. This is one of those that's going to hit people in two very different camps very, very differently. One will be the camp that just don't have a clue who Isabelle Huppert is beyond some French actress, which is fine, and the other's a camp that knows of her as the French Meryl, which is also fine. And correct. If you're in the first camp, you'll get a fun, schlocky little thriller that'll seem weirdly high spec at times, but if you're in the second, you get that and the full smirking knowledge that you're doing this with French Meryl, which is just awesome. So Isabelle Huppert plays Isabelle Huppert in an Isabelle Huppert performance that not only looks like and sounds just like Isabelle Huppert, but even goes so far as to have her live in that little hideaway Isabelle Huppert cottage apartment you'd actually imagine Isabelle Huppert lived in. Except this Isabelle Huppert is a psycho Isabelle Huppert, and that is just brilliant. Straight up, this is single white female, but the psycho's an old French lady and the victim's Chloe Moretz. Even if this movie were terrible, that pitch should at least make it an inclusion for your social circle's bad movie night. Incidentally, how does no one else I meet seem to know there was a direct-to-DVD sequel called Single White Female to The Psycho, starring Kristen Miller from USA High? I mean, wake up, people! Anyway, so it's a boilerplate riff you've seen done in those kind of cheap cash-ins, knockoff remakes like The Roommate a few years back with Leighton Meester, things like that, but this goes a step above by bolstering the lights of a hanging from the rails, foaming at the mouth Neil Jordan shifting its pieces around the board, and just the gloriously bonkers energy that comes out of it, that's second to none. I mean, even when Jordan goes serious in his material, there's always that simmering artistic sneer underneath, and, well, you get that with this whole lean into it till it cuts you 90-ish thriller that's staged to keep its every scene looking like it's a coin flip away from ending on a boning or an all-out murder. Probably the biggest part of that fun, though, is Huppert. She's been a name that can just get me into a movie sight unseen for a while now, and she's visibly having a ball here. This is like Tribeca's Max Cady. It's not a career definer or anything like that for her, but it's a damn fun role. And Moretz as well, she works really well in bringing her own sort of wide-eyed dismay to the side of the table marked, the hell did I just see? She's not getting a Denis Villeneuve movie on the back of this, but she's fun, The whole thing looks gorgeous. It's got Seamus McGarvey, the cinematographer on Nocturnal Animals, up in there. Real engaging, kind of a genre callback score from Javier Navarrete. He did Byzantium with Jordan a few years back. And speaking of callbacks, Stephen Rea's got to turn up in this. Of course he does. It's just always nice to see him. On the script level, it stumbles a little here and there. It's largely by allowing its mounting cliches to fester just a little too long before then, well, admittedly making up for it by kind of dancing its way through them so merrily. Like I said, Greta ain't reinventing the wheel, it's just giving it a good spin to keep the parts in circulation. I like the look, I like the feel, the performances were fun, it's a bunch of genre cliches, but at least the way of going about them's vaguely novel in the hands of Neil Jordan. 4 stars from me, I had a bloody good time, and I'm gonna never look at a cookie cutter the same way again. Other things I'll never look at the same way again now include S. Craig Zahler, Doodoo Brothers' Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99, both of which were unmitigated exercises in sheer badassery, and, well, now meet his magnum opus. At least that's what it seems to think it is anyway. It's called Dragged Across Concrete, it lasts about 4 days, and it's a violent, sweary, and way, way too pensive a version of like Den of Thieves meets Triple Frontier. Neither of which were great, and yeah, this is pretty poor too. Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn are two old-school, decidedly un-PC cops who get suspended for violating a suspect's civil rights and decide they're going to stage a robbery of a bank robbery they've learned is going to take place. I'd say it somehow takes 2 hours and 40 minutes to get there, but that somehow is mostly just a staring into the middle distance thing and a load of needless pausing. I bring that up because Zahler seems to believe that runtime equals quality. It doesn't, and Having that runtime afforded a movie that seems to be having its very bones constantly crunched by the weight of its own imagined self-importance sure doesn't either. I mean, I admit there's a certain dark humor to be gotten out of Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn setting out to equally offend the entire human race simultaneously with this. And yeah, still better than Den of Thieves, totally. But it's a pretty dull movie on its own terms. It's a decently shot one, but a dull one, and well, you're dragging yourself across concrete if you think this is even in the same league as Bone Tomahawk or Cell Block 99. So 2 stars from me. The Puppet Master Littlest Reich script sucked too. I'm kinda hoping Zala hasn't shot his creative load already. That'd just be such a waste after those movies, man. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, rate, and review.